best wishes, compliments of the season, all that kind of stuff. So I think given we've got not that much time today, I think let's just crack on with it, shall we? I'll just share my screen. We'll dive into the lesson with the reading for today. A bit about the hero's journey, so we can we don't have to go into all of that if we don't want to. Just depends on your feeling. If you think it's going to be useful to do that, then then by all means we can do that. Otherwise we can just go into the lesson. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. There we go. And where are we? Wrong one. Let's just get the correct one. Where are we? There we go. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay, well, let's start with a quote. You want to read that? From Joseph Campbell, who's the creator of the hero's journey idea.
Read it.
Yep.
Follow your bliss. If you do follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while waiting for you, and the life you ought to be living, one you are living. See that, you begin to meet people who are in the field of your bliss, and they open the doors to you. I say, follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be. If you follow your bliss, doors will open for you that wouldn't have opened for anyone else.
Oh, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can see it's so true. Yeah. It's not like the doors are there for everybody and we all try and get through the doors all at the same time. Boxing Day sales. It's more like your doors are individual to you, and sometimes you've got to close a few doors to open a few doors. And yeah, we're all helping each other way through.
I think that's the interesting thing. Although it's the same destination, which is perfect oneness, pure formless awareness, the perfect love. The journey is so individualized. Everyone has their own kind of unique journey path of awakening, and this is what Joseph Campbell's saying. Follow your bliss, doors will open for you that wouldn't have opened for anyone else. So things happen for you because that's what's necessary for your journey of awakening, and that's an interesting, engaging, inspired life that gives you, or a happy dream, as Yeshua calls it. So whatever you want to call it, following your bliss or happy dream or inspired life, following your purpose, finding your higher purpose. It's just pointers to a state of mind where you are in tune, you're in the flow of life, and things feel guided, you feel like you're being supported. That there's kind of a process that's unfolding for you, and you're going somewhere that's meaningful, worthwhile, while at the same time enjoying the moment. I think that's really the key thing. You're not out of the moment, you're in the flow, you're completely in the moment. So another way of describing it would be the flow state, as I say here. So maybe, Sally, if you read the first paragraph.
I can't say the name of the psychologist. I'll get there. You say that bit.
Okay. I struggle as well, but
in today's inspirational quote by Joseph Campbell, an American professor of literature who discovered and formulated what he called the hero's journey, based on his studies of the myths and legends of many seemingly different cultures, religions, philosophies, and spiritual traditions. He talks about the power of following your bliss, a term he used to refer to an inspired purpose that activates a flow of positive, helpful energy in the hero or heroine's life, which an analytical psychologist, Carl Jung, and synchronicity psychologist
called synchronicity.
Yeah,
psychologist Mihaly, shall I say that? Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, I think so he said.
Yeah, which is called flow, and Yeshua refers to as miracles in the Course in Miracles.
So there's different names for it: synchronicity, Carl Jung, flow, bliss, miracles. It's actually all pointing in the same direction. I think once you see that these are not separate concepts or ideas, they're actually just different terms to point to the same thing, then you start seeing that there really is a universal truth and a universal experience of that truth, which Joseph Campbell called the monomyth. Story of all the heroes, all the heroines, all the various stories of heroes. It's all about discovering, who they really are, despite the obstacles and temptations and trials and all the challenges presented by the ego. To remember, it's just the belief in separation. So it's overcoming their belief in separation and overcoming themselves, their separate self-concept. That's the hero's journey, in essence. Can you overcome? Can you deconstruct your separate self? So can you die to your little self and then awaken or be reborn in your new self? And that's what the hero's journey is all about, which is the only journey everyone is here on, really. We invent other journeys. The ego gives us other purposes, but in truth, that's the only thing we're here to learn. So that's why I said it's it's the universal story, or the monomyth, that underlies all of the other stories. And you notice that it happens in these three stages, three archetypal stages. So there's the call to adventure, the departing the known world, leaving your normal, so-called normal thought system, the ego's thought system behind. Then you have a period of initiation into this new world. It's a period of discovery. There's trials, temptations, as I said, challenges, temptations, but there's guidance. So you get mentors, helpers, guides in many ways, shapes and forms can come in and help you to get through these. And then as you overcome the challenges and temptations, you learn and you grow into more of who you really are. That's the point. You need the challenges and temptations in order to discover who you are. And then eventually that leads you to the place of transformation. There's an awakening to the true self and a death of the old self. After that, then you come out as a transformed person. You realize you're not really a person anymore. You're one with who you really are, your higher self, your spirit. And then you return. So the third stage is the return to the known world with the awareness of who you truly are. So you now come back with these gifts that you've got through the journey. The gift is not anything material. Sometimes in the myths they bring a symbol of what they've done. So they might bring the Hydra's head or a golden shield, or whatever, something like that. But actually, the true gift is the self-realization that the hero has attained through the journey, and they can then bring that back and share these insights and these qualities of their higher self with others, and then become part of someone else's hero's journey. One of the mentors, helpers, and guides who can help someone else. And so this is the hero's journey, and it also, you can see how it would fit into the at-one-ment idea. So your at-one-ment then helps the whole, and then you're called maybe to help someone else. So you become a mentor or helper on the path for someone else, and so you get this interlocking chain of forgiveness, Yeshua calls it. So these heroes' journeys all interlocking, forming a chain. I mean, you can actually visualize it quite well with the circle of the hero's journey. So my journey intersects with yours, and yours intersects with others, and so it's all interlocking for the purpose of awakening. Yeah, so there's really only one mind awakening to itself through all of these seemingly individual heroes' journeys. And that process is all guided. Following your bliss is when you tap in to the Holy Spirit that is guiding that whole process of at-one-ment for everyone. And then it feels right, and it feels good, and it feels enlightening and positive and uplifting, because you're tapping into that universal at-one-ment program, which is the ultimate program of the universe. There's nothing that's a higher calling than that, because it's the truth. Okay, so any questions on the hero's journey? A little recap, but given it's a new year, it's worth looking at it again and just going, okay, so where am I in the journey now? Is there a new call to adventure starting? Because you can cycle through this several times in your life. That's possible. Am I deep into the challenges and temptations, the initiation stage? Am I going through seeming hell? Then I'm probably in the the abyss, where I'm actually dying to the old self. Or am I feeling pretty good? I feel like a lot of the difficulties are over, and I'm mainly at peace, and I'm able to flow, and I feel quite inspired about sharing what I've learned. Well, then you're in the return cycle. Just a useful thing to consider in the next few days before the new year starts. Where are you in the cycle, and how can you accelerate the journey? Is there anything you can do to move yourself along the curve, down the curve or up the curve, wherever you happen to be?
What really interests me is every decision we make opens or closes other doors, doesn't it? So you say yes to something, you commit to a certain something, and then all these new doors open that, like quote said earlier, like they weren't there before, were they? And the opposite, if you say no to something, you're called to adventure and you say no, a whole load of doors close to you, don't they?
Yeah. So going through one door opens up other doors, because you've now taken a different path, and obviously on that path, those doors are there in the potentiality of it. But if you never take the first step, then you'll never know. So it's very kind of quantum, and it's you make choices, and that changes your reality quite dramatically. And almost in the quantum interpretation of quantum mechanics, there's an interpretation called the many worlds interpretation, which says, well, actually there's many possibilities, there's many worlds, and when you choose, you collapse on one, and so then that comes into so-called particle reality, but the others are still kind of there. And your choice is what collapses the quantum field from the potentiality into the actuality of that, and then that unfolds a whole different kind of web of scenarios. And so there's actually infinite potential, because anything can happen. You make a choice, and then from that choice comes a whole stream of other choices. And so that's the only way of really navigating your way through that maze is through guidance. How would you know which choice is correct? Did you ever see the movie Sliding Doors? It was quite a good one, because I thought, one choice, whether she got through the doors or not, really influenced, profoundly influenced the outcome of the rest of her life. Just that one split second, So the movie was illustrating that concept of, you make a choice, and then whole different sets of scenarios and things unfold as a result of that choice or that event. Which is why you really need to be guided along the way, all the way, especially if you feel like it's an important choice. Having a cup of coffee or cup of tea, probably, that's maybe not that significant unless it's an issue for you. But if you feel like, okay, there's a life choice I have to make, we all have that. Jackie, you said, well, do I stay, do you stay there or do you move? That's a pretty significant choice. That's going to determine then the outcome of the rest of your life, and various doors are going to close and open depending on what choice you make. So you need to really be guided and feel you can never know how all those scenarios are going to play out. That's not possible. What you can do is you can tap in to the guidance that says just do that. The Holy Spirit doesn't give you all the reasons. It just says, I'll give you a feeling that that's right, and if you can listen to the feeling or not. When you listen to the feeling, it's right, and then in hindsight, the dots get connected, as we saw with Steve Jobs' quote a few weeks ago. in hindsight, you can connect the dots. Oh, okay, well, I can see why I was inspired or felt called to do that, because then that led to that and that and that. But at the time, you have no idea of that sequence of events. So you just have to be guided and go, that feels right now. So I'm doing it in faith and trust that this power is correct, that it knows what my plan, my at-one-ment plan, my hero's journey looks like. And it will guide me surely along that path. And only the Holy Spirit can do that. If you can tap into that guidance, then there's no reason to fear and there's no reason to be anxious, because at every moment you're getting the guidance, and well, if I need it, it will be there. And I know, because I'm surrendered, I know that I will hear it, and I will follow it. I trust myself. I think anxiety comes when we don't trust ourselves. I don't trust myself to get the guidance. Because I feel like I'm blocked, and then we start looking elsewhere for guidance. We start looking to external sources for the guidance. And then sometimes we don't trust ourselves to make the right decision. Okay, well, I can get the guidance, but will I listen? Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just be like, no, I'll just do it my way, because the ego's like tells you that, and you for whatever reason you choose the ego. So the development of trust, if you remember, that was Yeshua's idea of the hero's journey. It's all about trusting in the Spirit, and there's a various sequence of events to go through that trust, to develop that trust to the point where you surrender completely to the Spirit, and that now becomes you. You are it is you, and it's guiding you all the time, right? Because there's no separation between you and it. So there's no longer a question of, oh, well, I need the guidance and I'm asking for seemingly some kind of external force. You've awakened that spirit in you so much that becomes that's your true nature. That's your true mind. And so that just kind of by default, that's now your default thought system. That just comes through and gives you the guidance, tells you do that, go there, without reference to the past. That's the interesting thing. It's not conditioned. So it liberates you from all of the past conditioning of the known world. It simply says, do that now. That might completely go against all of your conditioning and all of your programming that you've had for your entire life. But it says, do that now. And if you can trust it, that's a huge part of breaking out of the known world, because you're trusting the guidance to now navigate through the unknown world. And the more you do that, the more deeper you get into the unknown world, and the more it becomes the known world. You go, oh, this is actually quite nice. I enjoy this. I'm not fearful. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but that's nice. It's a fresh way to live. Every day is a little bit new and fresh and a surprise. So a lot of people might say, oh, but that's a bit boring. Oneness is totally boring because nothing new, nothing interesting ever happens. Ultimately, in absolute truth, that's true. Nothing ever changes. But while we're here, following that divine truth will really give you a very interesting and engaging and uplifting and inspiring, and you can inspire others, and it's inspired and inspiring life. In my experience, will give you the best kind of life that you can live here. It's still a dream, but it's a happy dream. So it's kind of paradoxical. It's not boring. It's actually very interesting. It takes you on a journey of awakening, because the Spirit knows that you must learn these lessons in order to get back home. So it has to challenge you. The ego challenges you, but it has to take you through all the challenges and the temptations, and ultimately through the collapse of the whole ego, and then the return journey in order to get you home. So then that's the journey that needs to take you. And that's a journey filled with richness, and there's meaning there, and there's purpose. And we were talking about it earlier. Yeah, it's not without its challenges. But then say to people, what would you prefer? The seeming pain of awakening, where you've got to go through these challenges, you've really got to stretch and dig deep and grow, or just the kind of ongoing pain of the ego, just the existential, well, what's life really for? And I'm trying to find meaning in what's meaningless. And I keep doing the same thing over and over again, trying to create some kind of meaning and purpose, and it's not there. And I feel this existential void inside of me where I know that something's not right, but I won't really listen to the call to go beyond this and really adventure out of it and say, okay, well, I'm open to something completely new. And that's ongoing existential pain that the ego will keep you in forever. Whereas this pain is a growing pain. It's not going to last forever. The challenges and temptations in this cycle don't last forever. You get through them, and on this side, it's a lot easier. Not to say you never get challenges, but you're in an enlightened state. So are they really challenges, or do you just flow with them? You wouldn't perceive anything really as a challenge if you're in a fully enlightened state, because you're so in the trust that you go, well, this is just part of the plan, so it's all fine. There's no challenge. The Holy Spirit's going to guide it all, and I just flow through all of it, and that's just part of my awakening journey and others' awakening journey as well. Okay, so any other thoughts on the hero's journey? Questions?
I think it's important that when you get the guidance, to follow the guidance without it being logical. So to me, if it's illogical, the guidance, then that's the way to go. And that takes you into the unknown, doesn't it?
Usually, yeah. Usually, normal logic, the known world, keeps you trapped. No, we'll just do what's sensible and logical. And usually the spirit will take you on a different path that might seem completely illogical to other people. If they're in the ego, they will not understand why you're doing it. That won't make any sense to them. And so you will get resistance. And that's, what's noted here in the threshold guardians. That kind of black line. It's a strong resistance because the ego doesn't want you to break out and make that choice and cross the threshold. And that will show up in many ways, but often it's people in your life who go, oh no, you don't want to be doing that. That's just crazy. Well, just stay as you are. Like, your life's okay. It's all fine. What are you worrying about? You've got a nice family, a good job, whatever you have. And they say, well, why aren't you content with that? But you know that there's something in you that's calling you, and it doesn't matter how much the voices of the world say that it shouldn't be there. It's there. It's the splinter in your mind, as Morpheus put it so well. It's a splinter. It's like a splinter in your mind driving you mad. You know everything's not right here, but you don't exactly know why. And so there's this call to go and heal that and find the answer, which we all feel, and everyone feels it. Yeah, to answer your question, it's not like only the awakened ones do. It's just a lot of people choose to suppress that. They go, well, that's an uncomfortable feeling. I don't really know what to do with that, and so I'll just kind of pretend. I'll just fake it. I'll just carry on in my life, and I'll do what I do, and maybe I'll do more of it, and I'll distract myself. And this is how dysfunction and addictions and stuff develop, because people are trying to distract themselves from a deeper core and just maintain the status quo of the known world, rather than saying, okay, I'm going to go through. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be apparently painful, certainly for the ego, to push into this. But it's a different kind of pain from the ongoing misery that the ego is creating in the known world. It's actually quite an inspiring. It's quite a good pain. It feels quite good if you can get used to it. It's like, okay, I'm growing, and I can feel I'm being stretched and kind of pulled and expanded, and it feels uncomfortable. But if you've ever done hard exercise, you know what I mean. It's that I'm pushing into it. I'm pushing, and it's pain, but it's actually quite enjoyable, because I know that I'm pushing the limits, and I'm kind of performing at my max, and that's quite an enjoyable experience, even when there's a physical pain. So you learn to transcend the perception that this is painful, and actually quite enjoy it when you're being challenged. You're like, okay, game on. Did anyone watch the World Cup final? Because there was a moment. Do you remember when France scored? Argentina were 2-0 up. They had 10 minutes to go. It looked like they were cruising to victory. It was like, okay, and France were nowhere. They hadn't had a look in the whole game. And then suddenly they scored 2 goals in like a few minutes, and the whole game changed. And then they had to go to extra time. And in the little break, I watched Lionel Messi, he's the Argentinian captain and probably the best player in the world at the moment. And I watched him, they zoomed in on it, and he had a little smile on his face. And I thought, okay. So he's going, all right, it wasn't that easy. That was going to be too easy. Here we go. So you could see he was up for it. He wasn't like, oh, how could we have lost the opportunity? We were 10 minutes away from winning the World Cup. There wasn't that sense of loss on his face. He was like smiling. He was like, okay, here we go. This is going to be fun. And that's probably why they won. Because if they'd gone, oh, we've lost, imagine, we've lost 2-goal advantage, we've blown it, that hanging on to the past would have affected their present performance, and they probably wouldn't have won. They ended up scoring another goal in extra time, and then France came back, scored another one just before the it was to and fro. But if you're a great player, then you would enjoy that. You go, bring it on. That's what football's all about. Not, oh, we just won easily and comfortably, because it's not really about that. It's about the joy of the game, and they played in one of the best finals ever. So that the people who really on top of their game, I use football as an example, but anything in life, you will actually enjoy the challenge. You'll be like, okay, bring it on. I like this because I'm testing myself and I'm stretching myself, and that's how I grow, and that's where that's where the enjoyment of life is in those moments. So any other thoughts on this hero's journey? There's an article there. There's this is all broken down, so you can go, we can go through this briefly. These are the kind of phases, 12 phases of the hero's journey, which you can see in movies. These are in noted states, and so Hollywood is all of the really popular movies, like the series like Star Wars and The Matrix and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. They all base it on this hero's journey and going into the 12 phases of it. So any should we go into this, or you happy to move on to the lesson?
Yeah, let's move on, shall we?
Yeah. But worth looking. And then I gave you there's an ebook. So if you have a bit of downtime, this over the festive season, there's The Hero with 1,000 Faces, which is Joseph Campbell's original seminal book, really. Because post that, you notice it was 1949. The movies changed substantially after that, because Hollywood got hold of this and they started going, oh wow, this really works. George Lucas was one of the first. He read it and then started formulating the Star Wars movies. And so a whole different genre of movies came out based on the hero's journey. If you watch movies prior to 1949, that's often not really there. You don't have the same structure, because no one had discovered it yet. It took Joseph Campbell to discover it, write the book, and then that spread to Hollywood, because it's the basis of a good movie. And some more people joining us. That's nice. Kim, say hello to Kim. Yeah, so any thoughts or comments or questions on that? Just be aware, if we do movie watching, it's always useful to go, you could have a look at this diagram and go, okay, so let me see it, if I can track the hero's journey. It's a different way of watching a movie, and actually then you start to see how these really good movies are structured around this process, which is interesting for us. That's what engages us, because we resonate with their journey, because we're also everyone wants to take that journey. Even people who are unawakened, they will still resonate to a point with that journey. They just won't apply it to their own life and say, well, it's all about the hero on the screen doing, not about me. I'm not a hero. Okay, so shall we have a quick look at today's lesson? Where are we? 324 we're on to. And we might actually have some time just to do the intro. How are we doing? 45? No, I think let's just do the lesson. We have extra time if we can do that. Okay, so moving swiftly on to the lesson for today, which is along the same lines as the quote about following. I merely follow, for I would not lead. Alternatively, I merely follow, for I do not want to lead. Very different idea from our typical Western psychology, isn't it? No, you want to be leading, you want to be in front, you want to stand out from the crowd. This is saying, actually, no, I don't want to lead. I'm going to follow the inner guidance. Now, that on the level of form might make you into a leader. People might go, we trust your judgment. We're going to listen to you. You become a leader or a counselor or a guide. But you actually are stepping back and you're listening. It's not you, the separate you, doing it, because you realize that the separate you is going to mess it up. And so it takes a lot of humility, usually painful experiences, make you surrender and say, look, I'm going to mess it up. So yeah, from my own experience, I know that I'm not going to get this right. So I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to listen to this guidance and start trusting more and more that the guidance will come through whenever I need it. Let's say hello to Kim. Kim, are you there? I'm not sure if she's I'm not sure if her audio is on. Okay, hopefully she'll get in. So who would like to read the first one? Read the original and then read the alternative. We'll unpack the alternative version.
Do that? Want me to read the quote or just the paragraph? Okay. You are the one who gave the plan for my salvation to me. You have set the way I am to go, the role to take, and every step in my appointed path. I cannot lose the way. I can but choose to wander off a while and then return. Your loving voice will always call me back and guide my feet aright. My brothers all can follow in the way I lead them, yet I merely follow in the way to you as you directed me and would have me go. Alternatively, my source, you are the one who gave the plan for my awakening to me. You have determined the way I am to go, the role I am to take, and every step in my appointed path. I cannot lose the way. I can only choose to wander off a while and then return. Your loving voice will always call me back and guide me truly. All my companions can follow in the way I lead them, yet I merely follow in the way to you as you direct me and want me to go.
Okay. Well read. Any thoughts on that?
Well, it's saying that spirit leads the way, and we follow, and others may then choose to follow us, but ultimately we're following spirit, and they're following spirit through us by seeing our example.
Yeah, exactly. Which is exactly what Yeshua did. He was a leader, but he completely surrendered. He was just following guidance. So a leader in worldly terms, he had disciples and he had followers listening to him, but he was just a channel for the divine guidance to come through and help others. So it's the idea of being a servant leader. You know, you're leading, but really you're just allowing spirit to lead you and others, lead others through you, rather than the ego's version of leadership is, I'm the boss, I'm in charge, I'm the big honcho, the glory's mine, and everyone else is kind of under me and following, wanting to stand out. Right. So the interesting thing is that someone like Yeshua was an outstanding individual, even though he didn't want to be an outstanding individual. He just merged with his source and he said, we are one, I'm one with everyone. He was actually relinquishing his individuality and the wanting to stand out. And yet that made him stand out hugely because no one else did that. Everyone else is trying to be outstanding in ego terms, and that makes them all the same. So again, there's life's full of these kind of paradoxes, ironies, you might say, that someone like some of the most outstanding people in life have been the ones who didn't want to stand out. They just wanted to merge with everyone. Any true spiritual master doesn't want to be outstanding. They want to They want to be one with everyone and everything else. Oh, there's Kim again. So any other thoughts on paragraph 1? It's really saying that Spirit's just got it covered. It's like everything's there for you. The plan is pure awakening is there. There's almost a predetermined way. The script is written, Yeshua says at some point in the text. The script is written, so your way is unfolding according to this script, and it seems like you have choices and you're making choices, but if the Holy Spirit's guiding it, then it's not really you choosing it. It's just your predetermined plan of awakening unfolding for you, you see. And the choice that seems to be a choice isn't really a choice. So it's not really free will that will get you there. It's relinquishing your free will. That brings freedom. And we had a conversation. I think I had a conversation about this with Iona earlier this year. It was free will. So what is free will? The ego's version of free will is an alternative world, some other world where I can make my own choices. The Spirit's version of free will is the world that is surrendered to God, because that is the world that's truly free and unlimited. And there's a difference between those two. Free will doesn't mean I have the choice to do whatever I want. Free will means I choose to listen to the guidance, and I surrender my will. Again, interesting kind of paradox, isn't it? It's free, but it's actually guided. It's not really your will.
I always understood it that in the course it was freedom to choose, that you've basically got two choices: the loving way of Spirit or the fearful way of the ego. And or if you have the free will to choose which master you're going to follow.
So that's the choice. But if you choose the Spirit, is it really you choosing? See, there's no separate you choosing. You become one with the Spirit. Is actually who you really are. So there's an illusion of choice while you still think you have choices. But ultimately that illusion collapses into oneness when you realize there is no choice, because I am that I am. I am only that, and there's no alternative to that. Then there's no, the idea of free will becomes meaningless, because there's only one will. So whatever you want to call that, free, not free, all of these dualities collapse into, well, there's just one awareness, one will, and I am that, and it is me. And of course it's free. I mean, an adjective like free doesn't even mean anything in those terms. It just is what it is. And but it's the comparison to the alternative that then creates these, there's free and there's not free will, and there's limited and unlimited will. And that's always the duality we're playing with. So you seem to have a choice as long as you maintain the ego in your mind, as long as there's still a belief in separation, you seem to have a choice. In the end, by consistently choosing to listen to the Spirit, you collapse the ego, you collapse the idea of choice, and your will becomes truly free when you collapse choice. Because actually choice is not free will. For choice isn't freeing. Choice is actually quite confusing. So I could do that, I could do that. Now I'm not certain. I'm uncertain. In fact, I'm doubtful about which way I should go. So is that really a free, unlimited state? No, it's a dualistic split mind state, which doesn't feel good. So the way out of that duality is to choose consistently with the Spirit, which ultimately collapses the idea that there's another will and there's another choice, and duality collapses and there's only one will and one awareness left. And that's another perspective on what forgiveness does. It collapses the choice, and you settle in on the one. So from a quantum perspective, you collapse all choice. When you collapse all choice, there's no uncertainty anymore. Do you see? And if you recall in quantum mechanics, the uncertainty principles are the very foundation of quantum mechanics. Heisenberg discovered, said, well, you can't say for sure what the position of something is and how fast it's going. There's all these, and there's other uncertainties. You can't say. So that's the nature of our reality. It's uncertain at its foundation. But if you collapse that, eventually you'll go beyond all uncertainty, and you go to the singular awareness, oneness, that underlies it all. And then it would make sense then that the entire construct based on uncertainty and duality and choice collapses. In other words, the universe disappears, because the universe is made up of this idea of choice and duality at the very foundation of, as the quantum physicists have seen. And then you collapse all of that. Well, the universe must disappear, and you go back to singular consciousness, not consciousness, a singular awareness of oneness. And that's all there is. And that's what forgiveness does. And that's what your hero's journey is all about, awakening to that one awareness that you are. There's Kim. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Jonah. Hi, everyone. I'm switching
Yeah.
my video off. I'm really having problems with the internet today.
Yeah, I could see you.
Yeah.
You're trying to get on.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Hi.
Happy Christmas. Belated Christmas. So,
I'll give a wave with my camera on for a little while,
Yeah.
and then I'll switch it off again
Okay.
before it decides to disconnect.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
So we're just doing the lesson. So yeah, any comments, questions, thoughts on any of that? Paragraph 1. Oh, it's obviously worked then. We're back at 0 point. Silence. So number 2, should we move on to number 2? Susie, do you want to read number 2 for us?
I am on my phone, so just let me have a look if I can.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a bit number two.
Can you read? So let us follow one who knows the way.
Yeah, so let us follow one who knows the way. We need not hurry.
Terry.
We-
It's just an old kind of old version of delay.
We need not tarry, and we cannot stray except an instant from his loving hand. We walk together, for we follow him, and it is he who makes the ending sure and guarantees a safe returning home.
Yeah, and the alternative?
So I choose to follow the remembrance of perfect love that knows the way. I need not delay, and I cannot stray except for a moment from its loving guidance. We journey together, for we follow this guidance, and it is a perfect love that makes the ending sure and guarantees a safe return home.
Okay, any thoughts on that?
Like you said, it's all about trust and knowing it's, I guess I read it totally different this morning, or I must have read it differently, but it's been really good just to listen and take it all in.
Yeah, what was your initial interpretation of it?
Something about follow. So I guess the mind was having its own interpretation of follow the, what was the actual trying to think of the actual
Original
yeah,
lesson.
yeah. I do
Well, it
not
doesn't
want,
actually specify. Merely follow, for I would not
Yeah.
lead. Follow what is the question?
yeah. I
I merely follow. The implication is I'm following presence and following, the spirit,
Yes. I
but
think
not
there was a
actually
bit,
naming it, which is quite
Mm.
interesting.
and I think that's where I got a bit confused this morning, but it's been really good to listen,
Hmm.
because I kept thinking, follow. Well, is that right? But it's been really good to listen
Hmm.
and really tap into that. But it's really good as well, because it's the trust thing as well. And I think that's where I waver, or I distrust, or I'm unsure. Yet it's been lovely to listen, because you can, I think you take so much more from when you really listen.
It's a deeper understanding of the words.
Yeah.
It's following your own guidance. This is your own
Yes.
inner guidance. And how often do you not listen to that? And so many people can't even hear it, but as you start to awaken a bit more, it'll be there. There'll be something there. It's called intuition, but often we just ignore it. We go, no, because it's can be quite subtle. There's this little voice saying something. And so part of the mind training is learning to listen to that, tap into, be quiet enough. You've got to still the mind to be quiet enough to hear that, acknowledge it, and then say, okay, I recognize it, that is the voice of spirit coming through, and that is the true guidance. And I'm able to cut out all of the distractions of the ego. It's like tuning a radio to the correct station. You got to just get it, fine tune it so you get it right and you can really listen. And then you've got to cut out all the other stations and all the other noise, the static and etc. So that you can listen to that, and you're a finely tuned instrument, able to download and then express out. The radio is quite a nice, or TV. These technologies really mimic what's actually happening spiritually, a symbol of what happens spiritually, because we fine tune ourselves to the correct frequency, and then it comes through. Then there's a clear channel, and we download it, and then it comes through us, and it gets expressed through the instrument, just like a TV or radio or computer is a communication device. What's been downloaded now comes through that instrument, and if it's clearly tuned, then you get a clear transmission, and other people can see that, and that it becomes a communication to others. So that's what we're training our minds to do, to become like a proper receiving vehicle for the spirit, and then be able to express that in our words, our thoughts, and our actions. And so we become the avatar. We are the character in the movie, but we are awakened, and the spirit is guiding us in all of our thoughts and our words and our actions. So we're in the dream, we're playing in the movie, but we become the awakened one and the awakener of others, because we're getting the guidance from beyond the thought system of the ego, beyond time and space. So we bring that guidance now into time and space and into the dream, via us, via our mind, and then the thoughts and actions and words and so on that then express it out. And then we become, truly powerful people. So any thoughts on paragraph 2? Hi, Lynn. Happy Christmas. Welcome.
And to you. Merry Christmas, Susie.
Yeah.
No.
And to you.
Nice to see you again.
Just got back from the walk, so I quickly popped upstairs. And
Yeah, great. Yeah, we're going to do a meditation just now. So, yeah, any thoughts on the lesson? Anyone want to share anything? Any questions, comments?
What was coming to me was when we've got that clear reception and you're living with other people that have got that clear reception, it's interesting where we all get those moments of breakthrough, because we're resistant on our own stuff quite often, aren't we? So somebody else is clear on our stuff. So they say something that wakens us up on a certain area, and then it's like a chain reaction, isn't it? It opens up those other doors that weren't open before. And it's interesting living with a couple of other people that are quite awake, and it gives you an opportunity to have clearer insight all the time. Yeah, it's been a good lesson. Yeah.
Yeshua talks about an interlocking chain of forgiveness. At-one-ment is an interlocking chain of forgiveness, interlocking chain of miracles, I think actually is the quote directly. So living with other people who awakened or awakening, these heroes' journeys start to interlock and intersect, and it's a circle, isn't it? So imagine a link, and so there's you, and there's Lynn's hero's journey, and you intersect, and at a critical point you might intersect, and you might be the helper or the mentor on that part of her journey, and vice versa. That's how it works. and then you can only marvel at how the spirit does it. It uses whatever the channels are available to to bring this at-one-ment plan into being, and some way it will find a way for that all to happen through all of the ego's complexity, through the maze of complexity and all the apparent separation. It's going to find a way to do that. That's the extraordinary thing. And that's not a power that any of us can understand. It's way, way beyond anything your ego can comprehend, conceptualize, frame, try and use it, because it's like, who can do that? How's that possible? But it is, there's no order of difficulty in miracles, says Yeshua. It's because it's the fundamental purpose of everyone and of this universe for the mind, the one mind, the Son of God, to awaken. That's the master program. That's ultimately what this is all about. If you tap into that, you have a transcendent power that will transcend all of the apparent limitations that seem to be there, which is why there's no order of difficulty in miracles. Okay, so anything else? Otherwise, shall we go into a meditation on this? Okay, so just I'm just going to mute you, Susie. Mute Kim as well. So just finding a comfortable position, sitting with your feet shoulder width apart. If you're sitting on a chair, if you're sitting on a bed, just support your back. You can your feet shoulder width apart. If you're sitting on a chair or sitting on a bed, sit with your feet out in front of you, or you can cross your legs, or put your soles of your feet together. That's my favorite posture. If I'm sitting down on a bed or a floor. Make sure your back's supported, you're comfortable. You're sitting on the bed, just raise your bum up with a cushion or two, so you're a little bit above your legs. It'll put less pressure on the legs. Make sure you're in a comfortable posture, and start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just clench the sphincter muscle. It's the muscle used to track the flow of urine or squeeze the last drops out. Just locks the energy in. Draws the energy up the spine. All the way up into your heart center. Put one hand on your heart. Just to connect in with your heart space. Bring your attention fully into the present moment by focusing on the breath and subtle sensations of the body, like the pressure of your hand on your heart. Breath flowing into your nostrils. Feel this warm wave of energy, maybe a tingling sensation going up your spine, all the way from the base of your spine through your middle back, where the heart is, the heart chakra, and then on up into the crown of your head. Draw it all the way up into the crown of your head with another deep inhale. Pause at the top of the inhale. And I'll just check in and scan your mind. So you're going to notice any thoughts, emotions, any related body sensations, particularly anything that feels fearful. Today's lesson is all about overcoming fear. So any fear, any anxiety about the future. A lot of people get very nervous this time because there's a new year starting, and all of those fears and anxieties come up. So just notice those. If they're there, breathe into them. So you're creating some space, spacious awareness, which is light. That helps you can visualize a light flowing into every pore, every cell of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in the light of your true awareness. Breathe that in, so you're totally infused with this light, this true awareness. And now remind yourself of today's lesson, that I merely follow, for I would not lead, or if you prefer the alternative version, I merely follow, for I do not want to lead. And then you exhale and just blow it all out, letting go of any of that darkness, which is just limited awareness, thoughts that are fearful, anxious. Maybe there's some frustration mixed in there, which is just a form of anger. Maybe you hit some resentment. It's all part of one thought system, the ego's deluded thought system that trying to undo through each of these lessons. So just blow it all away. Let it all go with the breeze of your breath into nothingness that it really is. It's going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. You blow all the last remaining air and negativity out. Completely empty of air and negativity, and just rest here in the peace and the stillness for a few moments. Breathing in and out through the nose, and just surrender. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe in and out through your nose. Observe the breath flowing into the nostrils and then out of the nostrils. And so all you're going to do is focus your attention on the breath. So now listen in this quiet stillness to these words from Yeshua, commentary on this key idea, and let these permeate into your awareness. You've emptied your vessel, your mind, and so these words have a place, a home in your mind. Place where they can just drop, land into the stillness, like pebbles in a pond on a very still, calm and windless day. Because your mind is so still and calm, the ripple effects are very noticeable. Pebbles drop into the mud at the bottom of the pond, which is your subconscious, and they stabilize your entire system. Mind, body, system, everything is then perfect, unchangeable, and unchanged. So, listen to these words now. Just feel into the words, breathing in, breathing out. Breathe in the energy of them. Try and feel into them rather than just intellectually understand them. And I'll read you the alternative version. So, my source. Repeat after me in your mind. My source, addressing your true self, your source of your awareness. You are the one who gave the plan for my awakening to me. You have determined the way I am to go, the role I am to take in every step in my appointed path. You cannot lose the way. You can only choose to wander off a while and then return. So you may have wandered off, feel like you lost forever, but that's not possible. You can be lost, but you can always find your way back. You have this presence. So listen to this loving voice. So your loving voice will always call me back from my wanderings and guide me truly. nor my brothers or companions can follow in the way I lead them. Yet I merely follow in the way to you. As you direct me and want me to go. So just surrender into this. Set the intention, feel the guidance, certainty that comes with that. Say, I choose to follow the one, the remembrance of perfect love that knows the way. This is the Holy Spirit, the one that does know the way for you to go, for you to awaken. Need not delay. I cannot stray except for a moment from its loving guidance. We walk together, we journey together on our hero's journeys. We follow this guidance. And it is perfect love. Pure forms awareness of perfect love that makes the ending sure and guarantees safe return home. So it is said. So it is done, not sometime in the future, but right now. You can experience this presence right now. Return home right now in the next 2 minutes of deep silence. There's nothing else to do. There's nowhere else to go. Nothing else to think about. Just breathe in and out through your nose, relax. Be still, be quiet, surrender into the stillness. In that stillness, you may receive guidance. So be open to listening to any voice, any inspiration. Maybe it's just a feeling, maybe just a thought comes in to help you to resolve a problem you have, to make a decision you need to make. So really just surrender to that, to the holy presence, holy aware presence, to the silence, so that you can tap into this guidance and listen. If you have a question which you're looking for an answer, then ask it now. And then just let go. Breathe out, exhale. Let go of any tendency to hold on to the question. So nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. The next 2 minutes, just breathe, relax, be still, surrender in to this deep peace, and be open to whatever happens. Be open to the guidance. Say, I choose to follow, for I would not lead. And then just follow the remembrance of perfect love into this quiet, peaceful state. Next 2 minutes of deep silence. And if any thoughts come in, just see if any trouble you, any fear comes up, anything that's disturbing to your peace in any way, just observe that thought from this casual, detached perspective. Breathe into it. Remind yourself that choose to follow the guidance and don't have to try and lead. I'm just open to listening to what I should do, and so I'll get the guidance when I need it. So it is said, so it is done. Exhale, blow out any fear, anxiety, doubt, like a black smoke out of your mouth. It's going, gone, leaving you, going to the nothingness that it really is. From the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And then just rest. Another minute or so of deep silence in this still, surrendered state of mind. Be open to listening to the guidance that might come through the next minute of silence. And so just gently coming back in this deep surrendered state, and you're going to bring some awareness back into your body via the breath. So on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So on the count of 1, breathing in again, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Clench the sphincter muscle to lock the energy in. Feel this warm wave of energy rising up to the crown. Pause at the top of the inhale. Okay, just check in and scan your mind. Noticing any thoughts, emotions, sensations going on, and again, letting them go. Exhale, breathe them all out with the breeze of your breath, blowing them away like dark clouds to the nothingness they really are. Remind yourself that I choose to follow, for I would not lead. And I am guided, protected, always. So notice how the air flows out, chest and stomach suck back in. Notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling with your hands touching. Maybe there's a subtle flow of air on your skin. Notice that. Breathe that air in. Notice any smell in your nose. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth. And notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state of mind. So just observe everything without judgment. The count of 3, you're going to open your eyes and just look around for a minute, just orienting yourself back into the room, noticing any object just selected at random for a few seconds. Notice what's underlying it. It's about the essence, not about the form. And look at something else and notice that the same essence is there, because the essence isn't you, it's your own true awareness. And so you notice that, and that in everything, you realize that this is the universal awareness, underpins everything, and it's always there. It's the same awareness that will give you the guidance in every situation. So I wish you good practicing. Practice this lesson well, frequently using the breath break I've sent you. There's a longer meditation this morning. This recording will go on the group as well, so you can listen to that this evening to top you up and stay in peace and in the surrendered guided state, which is what I wish for you. So thanks everyone for joining. I think that brings us to the end of the meditation and the session. So let me just